Hello, friend, and welcome to episode number 3, season 2 of the VIP Collective. I am your host, Corinne McDonald, and today my guest is Kim Ironmonger, wedding gown designer and owner of Valencienne. With over 30 years in the business, Kim is bringing her expertise to the VIP Collective about how to repurpose your wedding gown, as well as when you should consider a custom dress. There's a lot of takeaways, so buckle up and let's go, because this is my conversation with Kim Ironmonger. Welcome.
Thank you.
I am very, very, very excited to have you.
This is very exciting for me. I've never done this before. I'm a little,
You'll be fine. We're going to have fun.
But we're going to have a lot of fun.
And we're going to learn, which is what I'm really excited about. We're going to learn about you, what you do.
All right.
How long you've been doing it. And
longer than everyone in this industry.
We know you have some serious knowledge to share. So very excited.
Thank you.
So let's do a little intro for people who are listening and or watching.
Okay.
Because we are both. We are with Kim Ironmonger from Valencienne, CEO, owner, designer extraordinaire. So welcome.
Thank you.
So really excited to learn a little bit about the industry from your eyes and your perspective. So why don't you brief everyone a little bit on your background, when you started Valencienne.
Okay.
And then we'll kind of go from there.
Okay. So it's a very interesting story. I graduated grade 12 and had no previous thoughts of what I wanted to do. And my parents had an accessory business. And I was about 20 years old, and we were in London, England, and my brother had just gotten married and couldn't find a wedding gown for they couldn't find a wedding gown. So I was in England at a show, and I saw these gowns, and I said, we don't have anything like this in Canada. And I went to my parents and said, we need to start importing these gowns from England. And my dad said, no, we're not doing that. We're wholesalers. We're not retailers. We're not going into. Right. So long story short, without my dad's blessing, I found a store on Bloor Street. It was a short-term rental from the bank.
Like an empty store, an empty
store
storefront.
right on Bloor Street, across the road from Halt Renfrew, and it was very good rent. And I phoned up this designer and said I would love to buy these dresses from you. I had no money, didn't have any backing.
Yeah.
And anyways, long story short, I went to my father's banker and said, I'd really love to borrow some money. And she said, well, just take this little document home, get your father to sign it. And I said, well, I'm not doing that. And this would not happen in these days, because this was in 1986.
Okay.
This was the first woman who worked for the Royal Bank of Canada.
Oh, wow.
This was who gave me my loan. And she said, you can't roll over on this debt. Anyways, I got the money from her, and I don't know what she did. I don't know whether.
So was your dad still not going to support you on that?
My dad found out with my mother at a dinner that I was opening up a retail store, had got these gowns coming in from England, needed help decorating, so I cleaned out the house with their antiques. And my mother turned to my dad and said, I think this sounds so much fun. I just want to go work for Kim. So my mom came and worked for me for 12 years, 14 years. And that's how Valencienne started. So I never went to school for design. Didn't go to Ryerson, didn't go to fashion design, nothing. Wow. And started the business. I never worked for anybody in my life. I haven't even had a paper route in my life.
So you worked for your family before.
It's a little crazy, I know.
That's crazy. And so, but you used to be you were an artist in high school, would you say? Because you sketch now.
I sketch. I was very, very crafty.
Okay.
So I loved anything to do with sewing and crafts and drawing and decoupage and making stuffed animals. Like anything, sculpture, painting, anything like that. Mm-hmm. So I was very, very artsy.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so your mother helped you for 12 years.
So my mom helped me for 12 years, and we imported wedding gowns from England for about 5 years. And every time I brought in a gown, I would send a telex. As people would not know what that is.
I had to think about that for a minute. Like telex. Yeah.
That moved to a fax machine that now moved to computers. And I would send it through and basically, can we do this dress, but can we change this sleeve, and can we change this fabric, and can we change... And at the end, I just thought, you know what? I think I'm just going to be a designer.
Because everything you wanted changed.
Yep.
Why not do it yourself?
And that's really how it started.
So
yeah.
So the dresses, you stopped importing.
I stopped importing, and
so how did you
start? My dad hit the roof. He said, "If it's not broken, don't touch it. Like you've got a good thing. Do you know how lucky you are that this business is doing so well in the first few years?" And I just needed the challenge, So I got a sketchbook, sort of was looking up. I phoned Ryerson to find out, when you have students that can't really draw perfectly, what do you do?
Yeah.
They told me over the phone. So you need a croquis. I said, okay. Could you send me one of those?
That's amazing. So you're just asking for information.
So it was quite, I mean, I think of it now and I just think, wow, that is a crazy story, but that's what happened.
I love that. Mm-hmm. Good for you. Mm-hmm. So then how did you branch into getting your first customer to do a custom? So you had a storefront with no dresses in it. No, I had a storefront with the gowns from England.
Okay. And then basically I sort of was selling those off, and then I would, I didn't move it. A client came in, she told me what she wanted, and I said, let me sketch that out for you. And my mother was in the back smoking cigarettes, going crazy because she was freaking out. And I said, and I just went through today, I take my brides through the same process as I did on that day, because I don't know anything else.
Right.
So it's, what are you looking for? Tell me about your style. What are you thinking in the way of a neckline and a waist? I mean, it's finessed a little bit now. It's 36 years, but yeah. And that's how it all started. And now are people bringing up photos of them and like their style and like their Instagram to show you a little bit more of that? It's a little bit easier to convey that. It's easier. I mean, I like paper. Mm-hmm. I'm tactile, so. Unknown caller. Oh, I forgot to turn my phone off.
For the unknown caller. That was so funny.
I'm so sorry.
That was amazing. I like that. Thanks, Siri. So this is a great story. It is a long story. Yeah. That could be at least 12 hours long, because there are twists and turns, but I'm really shortening it up for you. Well, you can come back and we'll do 12 hours at some point. Okay. But all right. So how did you get from Bloor, and then you came up to Eglinton now? Is this your second location, or did you jump? Yeah. The third? So we were on Bloor Street. What's really funny about that is I went to get a lease for that store, and they said, well, we're going to build, so we'll give you a short-term lease of 1 year. And I was like, okay. So I took that for a year, and they couldn't get the permit. Scotia could not get the permit, so I was in that space for 7 years. Oh, wow. Which was a long time on Bloor Street. Yeah.
And then they got the permit, so I was forced to move. I didn't want to move out of the area, so I moved over to Cumberland, and I was on Cumberland for another 7 years, and maybe 7 or 8 years. And then we needed the space. So we needed the space because we expanded into our manufacturing, which takes up a fair amount of space, cutting tables and so forth. So we then moved over to Eglinton. Okay. So now we have a smaller front of shop, and the back is much bigger.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, because we manufacture everything back there.
How did you come up with the name Valencienne? It's so pretty.
Valencienne is a 17th century French lace, and it's the lace that Grace Kelly used on her wedding gown. It's pretty well the most expensive lace in the world.
Oh, wow.
There's a town called Valenciennes and I'm pretty sure I'm saying it wrong, which is terrible considering that's my namesake, but whatever.
We forget.
Anyways, we took off the S and it became Valencienne.
Wow.
And it's sort of around the area of where all the laces are made. Laces are made in Calais and all of that area. And that's where Valencienne is, and that's how we developed the name.
Beautiful. So talk to me a little bit about the inspiration. How do you go about getting inspiration for custom gowns? Like
Well, it's for me, it's a twofold process. So one is if I have a bride in front of me, she will inevitably have her Pinterest boards, her telephone, her cell phone, all of that. I know you're talking to a dinosaur, my love. A pretty dinosaur. Anyway, so she'll bring that inspiration with her, and she'll have probably done some research, tried gowns on, and she'll have gone out and she'll come to me and she'll say XYZ, and it's my job to listen to her and see if the 5 dresses that she wants can actually be put together,
right,
and created, right? So that's the one way of being inspired. The second way is we do a collection every year, and so we're all really creative in this industry, and I think it's you got to fuel your creative juices, and I don't think we work crazy long hours, and it really is a very sometimes soul destroying our business, right? And so I travel. I go away for a month every year. I'm an avid scuba diver.
Oh.
And
certified, right?
Rescue diver.
Wow.
Yeah,
cool.
I have a lot of dives under my belt. I've been diving since 1992, and I love it.
Yeah.
And I go under there, and I can design a collection while I'm, diving in the Maldives or Bali or Australia, or it's just I get fueled by being away from the office and seeing other cultures, seeing different TV shows, listening to different music, looking at something that's on somebody's, blouse that I think, oh my God, that's a detail. That detail is a great detail, and shopping in stores that are in a different country. People come into our lives and they say, oh, you're in the wedding and you're so lucky and it's so wonderful, and oh, it's great, and it is. It is, but people don't realize that our timelines can never be changed. I can't phone a bride up and say, I'm really sorry your fabric got held up in Dubai,
right,
and could you just put that date off 1 or 2 days?
Yeah.
So nobody really cares about what your personal life, what's going on in your personal life, what is happening. The day is the day, and that is extremely, that's an extremely stressful situation.
Yeah.
That people don't think about in our industry.
It's the deadline that can't be negotiated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then what's it like in terms of timelines for you? Like, when do people, if they're going to do custom, do they need a year?
Okay,
or?
so we like 8 months
For custom.
to a year.
Okay.
To a year. Okay, and it really does depend on what we are being asked to, what our project is. So if you come to us and it's an extremely simple gown, and there's not, there's a very limited amount of beading, a limited amount of lace and applique work and floral work and all of that, obviously, that we can turn around a bit quicker. However, if you bring something to us, we just, this June, we had a gown that was a year-long gown. It was fully beaded in Dubai from the top to the bottom. There was nothing that wasn't beaded. Hundreds of thousands of crystals and pearls and seed beads and bugle beads, and it was a year. Took us a year to create because we have to draw it, the drawing of the actual beading. Then it all has to line up, like it has to fit together, like a jigsaw. Comes together, and then we have first fittings and second fittings. But that beading took 6 months.
Oh my goodness.
So it was a long process. I am fortunate because I've been in this business a long time, that I do get projects that are incredibly difficult. I mean, insanely difficult dresses. And we even get other bridal designers that will say, go see Kim at Valencienne. Like, thank you for the recommendation. It's an honor that you are sending them to me, but oh my God.
Yeah.
This is a crazy dress.
Right.
But we managed to do it.
Are those sometimes your favorites because they're a little maybe out of the box? Or?
They are my favorites. The only unfortunate part about it is that I don't get to sit with the gown long enough. By the time it comes in, because it's art, it's like you're hanging a piece of art on your wall and you say, oh my, I love that. But it's gone. They've picked it up. It's gone out of your life. Because they're like my children.
I could see that.
Like they're like part
Especially
of me.
a year.
I've cried when some of my gowns have gone out of my store. And the bride's going, oh, Kim, don't get emotional. And I sort of say, I really like you, but I love my gown.
Bring it back.
It wasn't here long enough,
Right. Yeah.
Because they're a piece of me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Well, if you're spending 6 months to a year doing anything, fine beading or anything like that,
it's a lot.
Really gonna.
And the fit is also important, right?
Yeah. You obviously said you get emotional when the dresses leave.
Yep.
But what kind of emotion do you see from brides? And like, are they bringing in their families to come with them for their fittings? Like, it must be kind of touching, especially because it's something you've worked on for so long, and to see them getting so emotional in it. What's kind of like a favorite moment that stood out?
Oh my God, there have been there's been so many. One of my favorite moments. I don't really dress brides very much anymore. I go to their houses and dress them. I still do it a little bit. But one of my favorite moments is, when I'm in the room dressing the bride and nobody else is there. The photographer's not there. Nobody's there. It's just me and her. And she's putting this gown on the first time in her bedroom or wherever on the wedding day. And it's me and her, and she's all nervous. And I think just a little bit of age comes to, sort of putting my hands on her shoulders and giving her tips of keep your bouquet down low when you're going down the aisle, and breathe. And it's just her and I. Some of the best photographs I've ever received from photographers have been when they've come in and taken a shot of just me and the bride. Right. And I think that would be, because for them it's their most important day. They're getting married. And for me, my work, she chose Valencienne to go down the aisle. It's an heirloom piece that will be in a box under a bed. right? But an heirloom piece
Yeah.
that's going to be possibly passed down for generations. My label is in that gown. And it's her most important garment of her life. And she chose Valencienne, which really she chose Kim. And how it doesn't get much better than that.
And you're getting that moment with her
And I'm getting that moment with
to
her.
kind of calm her, soak
Yeah.
it in, and then let her breathe.
It's magical.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Does anyone ever come back to the store and see you after?
All the time.
You must make
all the time
great connections with your clients.
All the time. They bring their just 2 weeks ago I was at a christening, so I have made very good friends with a bride and groom of 2 or 3 years ago. They've stayed in my life since their marriage. They've had a little girl. We just did an incredible christening outfit for her out of her mother's wedding gown.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, what else have you done? Taken and like repurposed the wedding gown for other...
We've repurposed so that girls can wear the gown again. So
so they can wear it again to another function?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Skirts, cut off the tops and made bustiers.
That's a nice way to kind of keep it alive.
Yes.
Definitely.
And if you're going to spend the money,
Right.
which, these things cost.
Yeah,
Right?
definitely.
It's nice to be able to wear it again.
For sure.
And I like the idea of something not being in a box, something that can be worn again.
So let's stick on cost.
Okay.
And inform us and inform the audience a little bit about the cost of a custom dress and kind of what's the structure for it and what can people expect if they want to get a custom.
I think that's a really great question. Brides, sometimes are a little scared of custom. And it comes from one being cost and the other being, I don't know what it's going to look like. What people have to realize is that getting a custom made wedding gown it does not have to be as expensive as one would think. Now, you have to compare apples and apples. You cannot do it any other way. So if you're going to compare Valencienne's costing, then you would compare it to a comparable store in the city. Okay. Our our gowns start at $3,000 and go up. Now, a custom $3,000 gown is very, very elegant, simple, not a lot of hand finishing. It's a beautifully cut, fitted couture gown, and that's it.
Okay.
There are no alteration charges
At all?
at all.
Oh, wow.
So it is custom made to your body. That is really, really, that is a spoiler alert. No, or whatever you're calling it.
Yeah.
What was it? No, that is really important because if you take the average gown in Canada now is approximately about $2,200.
Okay.
Okay, and if you take a $2,200 gown, and a lot of these bridal stores, they do make their money on alterations.
Oh, I see.
And so when you take the alterations, and let's say you're going to be in between 500, it costs about $250 to do a hem. So if you take that cost of your alteration and add it onto your $2,200 and then add the tax on top of that, you're further ahead to come and get a custom gown that fits you.
Right.
If you're very, very petite or you're a larger, fuller woman, custom is the way to go
Right.
because of the fit.
Right. So up front it sounds less, but then when you add on,
Exactly.
you're going over.
Exactly.
Okay. So
our average in Valencienne that goes out the door is about $5,000. Okay, that's the average of, it's a pretty gown. It's got embellishing on it, and the quality of our fabrics are beautiful. Crepes and silks and French laces and Swarovski crystals and
What's your favorite trend right now that ties into those?
My favorite trend right now is crazy because it's jumpsuits.
Okay, so I was shooting.
And wedding suits.
Yes. So I shot Woodland Greesh with the crew at
I
Laura
know
and
you
Co.
did.
and
I know you
515,
did.
who have also been guests on here. And you provided jumpsuits, and they were beautiful.
Yeah.
And every time I see one of your jumpsuits, I'm like, oh, I really enjoy it. How popular
I really
are they?
Love them. They're not as popular as you would think. So they're a great runway. They're great for runway. You're going to see a lot. New York bridal shows this weekend, and you'll see a lot of that sort of trend. And girls want to try it on and have fun, but they turn around and they say, well, I'd love to do this, but I can't. Right? So the trend is, we need a second dress now.
Right.
So
Like an evening dress, right?
Yeah, no, like a jumpsuit. So we're going to wear our wedding gown, and Kim, can you make me a jumpsuit for dancing at the end of the evening? So that's a pretty big trend right now.
I like it. I really like it.
Yeah. I love the jumpsuits.
That was like an ivory color too, wasn't it?
It was ivory.
Yeah.
Ivory and, we ran that with nothing. She wasn't wearing anything underneath that jacket. She was naked.
Oh, was she?
She was.
There was another one you had done a couple of years ago with Laura, and it was at King Edward, and it was the one where she had the feather cape.
That was beautiful.
I love that too.
If you don't mind me saying.
Hey, preach. It was.
It was a beautiful, because that was a pajama pant.
Yeah. Oh.
So it
okay.
was a silk pajama pant,
Yeah.
right? With a fitted bone bustier, and then the lace.
So nice. So what happens to those that go for styled shoots? Do they come back to you and then?
We have lots of them. If anyone out there would like to come and have a good deal on a beautiful style file shoot product that we made for it. I get a lot of people in our industry that are friends and colleagues that ask me, they have this wild idea, and they come to me, and I can't say no. I just can't say no with a team like that, like Laura and Co. and you. How do you can't say no, because you just know the team that's been put together is really creating magic,
right?
And you know that it's going to be beautiful, and so you just do it.
That's the thing about the styled shoots, is that everyone's kind of taking care of each other, like we're all together in it together, making it look as beautiful as possible, as magical as possible.
Yeah, and I think we all have a real appreciation for each other's talents, and it just comes together. And you look at some of those pictures or your video or anything, and you sort of go, well, I knew it was good, but I just didn't think it was this great. You know what I mean? It's just, it even surprises you how good you can be.
Yeah.
You
must see, do you feel sometimes like you're waiting on Instagram for your brides to post photos so that you can see the dress?
Yes.
Yes,
I do.
Because after it goes out the door,
yes,
then you're like, well, now I want to see what happens on the day of.
Yeah. And see the finished product.
Yeah.
Her hair's done, her makeup's done, everything's, the florals, everything. You want to see it.
Yeah. Shall we chat advice for a bride who just got engaged? And she's now using Pinterest and Instagram. And
she's serious.
She's serious. It's on.
She's got to find that perfect dress.
She does.
Advice. I would say my number one piece of advice to that is let your gown, choose a gown that is reflective of your personality. Don't let your mom pick it. Don't buy it for your fiance. I had a bride on Saturday. He's going to love this. I said, do you love it? She said, yeah. I said,
then what?
Girls, you've got to pick a gown that is reflective of your style and your personality. When you walk down the aisle and everyone's looking at you, you want people to say, oh, that is so Corinne. That's so you.
Right.
You know, don't wear something because it's trendy. Don't wear something because it's current. Don't wear something because your best friend told you to wear it. Mm-hmm. It's got to be your style.
Is your winter season busier than your summer, or is it constant?
Constant. Because right now we're gearing up for 2020. So we're selling right now for January, February, March, which obviously is not that busy. Mm-hmm. We do a lot of destination. We do great destination wedding gowns. Okay. So we have a lot of business in that regard. And then come January, February, March, obviously it's the bridal shows. Mm-hmm. And so we're busy with that. And we are, this time of year, I'm also creating my collection for this year.
Okay, so a little bit of business advice, because I like to share business advice with the audience as well. Is there anything that you have on the tip of your tongue?
I was told by somebody 30 years ago that I've never forgotten, and it's silly. It's not silly, but it's always right. I always think about it. And I was told, profit is your sanity and sales is your vanity. Oh. And I always think about that, because I think, you know, people run around and it's all about how many sales they can get. But, you know, if you have $1 million in sales, mm-hmm. and you've gone and spent $1.2 million, mm-hmm. you're really not any further ahead.
Right. You're actually behind.
So, you're actually behind. So somebody and that always stuck with me. But I don't know. I think my advice for anybody within our industry would be take time for you. Mm-hmm. Really, I think I got struck last year with something called polymyalgia, and my body just literally, I went to bed mm-hmm. and woke up and couldn't get out of bed.
What is that?
It's an autoimmune disease. And, you know, I went to the doctor, who said, this is completely stress related and you need to really take care of you. So, I mean, I changed I lost 50 pounds. I dropped, you know, all of the junk food, and, you know, I really changed my lifestyle. Mm-hmm. But it really was a wake up call to say, you know, you can, you know, your age, you can work the 16-hour days and the 6 days a week and the Thursday nights till 9 and 10 p.m. But if you're not going to be around to enjoy mm-hmm. any of the fruits of your labor, mm-hmm. what was it all for? Right. So I just think a big piece of advice for the young'uns would be, you know, have some fun. Yeah. And, you know, enjoy what you do, work hard and play harder. And that's what I've lived my life that way. Right. And that's what I would say to anybody.
Well, I love it.
Yeah.
Are you feeling better now?
I am. Oh, I am 100% better. And you know, if you love what you do, like I love what I mm-hmm. I mean, obviously I want to start to slow down a little bit, because I've been doing this longer. I mean, every single person you have interviewed was not born when I started Valencienne. Right. That's true.
Right.
So I have been doing this a long time, and so I am getting to a point where I'm getting a little bit tired. I don't want to retire, mm-hmm. but that was a wake-up call to say, okay, you might be wanting to take an extra day off. You might want to take less weddings on, you know, just manage things a little bit better, because it's important, mm-hmm. you know.
Be fair to yourself.
Exactly.
Give yourself some time.
Exactly.
So you can come back and do more podcasts with me.
Exactly.
So what do you think is one message that maybe the audience, whether it be brides or industry people, kind of could learn from your experience? Something that you've experienced that kind of could resonate with them, they might have a better understanding.
One of the things that I would like to talk about is when a client comes or a bride comes to me and asks me to design something really extraordinary, and the work on it is extraordinary, beading, embroidery, whatever it could be, even appliquing lace and flower work, it's a piece of art. It is a piece of wearable art, clothing, and every little bead, every little flower, every little embroidery piece has to be drawn and figured out. And so when a client, for lack of a better word, wants to nickel and dime, can I get it for a better price? Well, this is uniquely my art. No one else in the city can do it. I'm not saying that there's not other designers. I'm saying that the particular piece of art that you're asking for, I have drawn and I'm making. So it's art.
It's your vision.
It's my vision. And sometimes I do find it insulting when people try to get it for a cheaper price, because I look at it and I say, well, you're not appreciating really what we are doing here. And I always think, well, people are, you're not paying for my labor. You're paying for my vision and for my art. That's what you're paying for. And I think that is really important, that people should appreciate that if you're going to have something custom made to your specifics. I mean, an A-line dress is an A-line dress, no matter who makes it. But what goes on top of that A-line dress is what makes that gown magical. And that is what you're paying for. And I think it holds true in any one of our industries. I mean, Corinne, there are many, many, many videographers out there, but very few have the finesse to edit something a certain way, or a camera goes in it. Like, that is what people are paying for. Right. And I just think that clients, brides, should understand that. And celebrate it. Yeah. Celebrate that they're getting something that is so uniquely them. A gown that has been styled for them.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Yeah. Because it is exactly what you've said, where we are the artists and there are other companies out there that do it. Yeah. But when they try and bring the cost down, they don't understand, even from a video perspective, each clip is chosen based on the narrative of the story. This is not
and the hours. I mean, I've many times in my business have invited brides to spend a day and sit in the back room and watch the hours that goes into beading a neckline, and we've only gone that far, and it is taken 2.5 hours. You just don't realize what goes into these things. That's and right. I invite my clients to come in the back and have a look.
Yep. It's just the understanding, because people, they might get the dress, they go home, they come back and see you 6 months later, they don't understand what's gone into it. Yeah. So it's good. We need to make people more aware. So,
which is why we're doing this podcast.
This is why the podcast is born, and I think that is a very hot tip. We love our hot tips here.
Thank you.
So thank you for sharing that, because I agree.
Yeah.
So on an ending note,
yes,
do you have a question that you would like to ask our audience?
Well, in the vein of what we've just been talking about, I guess my question would be, we are all here on this earth to create and to make the world a better place. So my question would be, what are you doing in your life right now that facilitates that?
I like it.
Yeah. So, what are you doing to make the world a better place? Because we sure as hell need it.
And we all need to come together.
And we all need to come together.
And that's kind of the message that's moving forward.
It's a big, big thing that we need to hold hands and...
Right. Yeah. Well, I love it. That's a great question. You heard her, folks. Well, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for this platform. I really had a wonderful time, and this has been fun.
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm really enjoying having everyone come in, hearing their stories, because it's just a lot of people don't know a lot of the behind the scenes of the wedding, and there's a lot of misconceptions out there. So it's a way to kind of bridge that gap and start to get people more aware of what we do and why we do it and who we are.
That's right. That's right.
I'm very happy you've come. And let's cheers and come back at any point.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that is it for episode number 3 of season 2 of the VIP Collective. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to give us one of these. And you can also hit subscribe so you don't miss next Wednesday's episode. As always, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you again next week on the VIP Collective.